Okay, so here we are. We have this transaction right here. Okay, so what else did we make a purchase for?
Data flyers.
We made flyers to pass out and hand out to the public. Okay, so these flyers, how many did we order? We ordered 2,000 of them. And what was the price for them? 5 cents per. And what is the requirement in order to fulfill this order?
50% down.
Yep. So we have to. Okay. So we need to encounter a voucher, okay, or in this case, a down payment, right? So here, how are we going to journalize a down payment?
Prepaid account.
Correct. Okay, so here we are looking at using a prepaid account because once again, this prepaid account, it's an advance payment that's essentially going to go towards the actual bill itself. Okay, which is 18,600 for what's the total amount that we owe? $50. And that's what we're going to be paying is $50. And how did we pay?
Credit card.
We used the Visa credit card once again to pay for these advertising flyers. So once again, Visa payable. Okay. The account number 22,000, I think. Okay. And it's $50. Okay. Once again, do we know who we bought this from? Who?
City printers.
We purchased this from City Printers. So we have City Printers, comma, we don't have an invoice yet because we haven't received the bill, but they did require us to do a 50% down payment. So 50% down payment on 2,000 flyers. Okay. Right? So now that we completed our journal, no other transaction has necessary, right? No purchase orders necessary, no deposits or checks that we have to write. So therefore, we can go straight to the the general ledger. So let's update our accounts. So here we have a prepaid account instead of advertising because in this case, we didn't buy advertising just yet. We're just buying it. We're just paying a down payment to it. So in this case, this down payment is going to apply to our invoice later on. But right now, we're making you could do Visa payable first. It doesn't matter. But in this case, I'm just going to go in exact order. So I'm going to go to my assets first. Excuse me. Locate my prepaid accounts. Here we are, prepaid accounts. We're going to recognize today's now the 12th. And this is going to be 50% down payment on 2,000 flyers. Okay. General journal number 4. And we acquired it for $50. Right? Bumping up our account balance to be $6,704.17. Okay? Right? And then, of course, we paid using a Visa credit card. So this is where we're going to be practicing our credit for the balance here. Okay, so here we are at the Visa payable, right? It is the 12th, and here was a 50% down payment on 2,000 flyers. Add General Journal 4. And once again, this time we are increasing our amount that we owe the credit card company. So how we reflect this in our account balance is that we're going to we're going to take our previous balance, add any credits because credits increase liabilities, and we're going to subtract any debits because debits decrease liabilities. Press enter, and now your account balance has increased to another $135. It increased to $135, right? And with this formula, I'm going to go ahead and apply it to the very bottom of my table. So, oops. There. So now I have a nice running balance. Okay, so every time I enter in a debit or a credit, it should either add or subtract to my existing balance. Okay. Okay. So now, what is next?
Advertisement expense.
Advertising where?
Add operating expense.
Operating expense. In this case, we haven't picked up the flyers yet. We're just ordering it.
Okay.
Then when we go to the next scenario,
We want to go to the subledger, right?
Yes, let's go to the subledger first and then we'll go on to the next scenario. So here we made a payment to City Printers, right? So that's definitely something you have to or should, think about recording. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and locate my City Printers. There it was. I just passed it. City Printers, right? And I'm going to go ahead and put the date. My note here is that I had to pay a 50% down payment on 2,000 flyers, okay, at which cost me 5 cents per flyer, and I paid with a Visa credit card. Invoice, we haven't received the bill yet, so that's okay, we could skip that. But one thing that we do know is that we had to make a 50% down payment. So in this case, my invoice amount was 50. My payment was 50 because I paid with my Visa credit card, right? And because I paid with my Visa credit card, therefore, if I enter in my formula, once again, I should reflect that I owe $0. And what this prepaid amount is going to go towards is the actual bill. Okay? But I do want to make sure that I recognize that the original invoice amount isn't for $50, but I still paid $50. Okay. So that's my subsidiary ledger there for my City Printers. Okay. Yep. You need something?
no, sorry.
Okay. All right. So then when we pick up our flyers, that's where we're going to enter in our bill and take that prepaid amount and go against our bill. And that's where we actually are going to pick up. So most cases, if you ever worked for that kind of company or you printed advertising flyers from a kind of company like that, they always request for 50% down. Because most cases, a lot of the work is that you're printing obviously a lot of flyers, you're using a lot of ink, and they want to ensure that if you end up canceling on them or you end up never picking up your flyers, at least they're not going to take a huge loss out of it. Okay. All right. So, what happened here on the 12th of June, Wednesday. What happened here? We received inventory. Now, what kind of inventory?
Perpetual.
Perpetual coffee inventory. So, here we have it. That's what it looks like. So let's take it. Let's analyze this bill. So the invoices amount for the total of $362.50. We have the invoice number 315. They gave us some terms right here. Here it says that they shipped us or they sent us or we purchased 125 pounds of regular coffee and 125 pounds of supreme coffee. All right, there's the unit price. Okay, and there's the total cost. So, first things first is we need to check off our purchase orders because we finally received our items. Okay, so purchase orders here, right? We haven't made any purchase orders, and guess what? We finally got our coffee, and it was invoice number 315. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this. Okay. How are we going to journalize our inventory item?
Regular coffee.
Regular coffee
Supreme coffee.
and supreme coffee. Yes, because why?
Perpetual, we put everything into the asset.
Okay.
Perfect. Because we know that this is perpetual inventory. We're going to recognize it as our coffee, or we're going to recognize it as our as inventory, not as an expense. Right? And because we received a bill, what's our first assumption? Are we going to pay it now or are we going to pay later?
Pay it later.
We're going to pay it later. So here we need to also include
Account payable.
accounts payable because we're not going to pay it now. We are going to pay it later. All right, so then here, what is my inventory regular coffee account number?
12020.
12020. And my supreme coffee? 12040. All right. And let's go ahead and discuss for what amount. So what's my total regular coffee? 168.70. Oh, that's what I did. Okay. 178.75. 168.75. And then what is my supreme coffee?
193.75.
And therefore, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to add them together just to ensure that it is 362.50. Okay. Here we have all the information that we need. Okay. So let's go ahead and enter this in. So we have Atlas Coffee, importers. Okay. We have an invoice number 315 and we have terms. All right. For 1%, 15 net 30. So this vendor gives us 30 days to pay off our entire bill. Okay. And I think that's pretty much good information in regards to journalizing this, right? We have the most important one, which who was the person that we dealt with, what was the invoice that's matching this information, and what are the terms, which is things that we should, I don't know, keep an eye on. Okay. So there we have it. We completed our journal. They match everything. So what is next?
General ledger for regular coffee.
Yes, we need to update our ledger because now we have purchased inventory. So assets. Let's go ahead and scroll through and find our coffee. Okay, so inventory should be here. Found it. So here's my regular coffee. Okay. The date is the 12th. Information that we could say here is that we purchased how many pounds of coffee? 125 pounds, okay, of regular coffee.
It's alright if I just write add this coffee so I know who the vendor was, or they just gonna be our primary vendor.
They're going to be our primary vendor.
Okay.
So in this case, I would say because you're dealing with inventory, a good piece of information is how much inventory do you have? What kind of purchase of inventory do you have? If anything, you could do, I bought this coffee, 125 pounds at whatever it is, like $1. I think in this case it's $2.65 or $1.65, something like that. Let's see. Let's look at the information. I purchased the regular coffee for $1.35, and my Supreme coffee was $1.55. So you can add that piece of information in here as well. Okay. Post reference. Once again, we're still on. We were on General Journal 4, and we've increased my account by $168.75. Okay. Other ways you could check this is by entering in 135 times 125, right? Just to verify that you did get that 168.75, whatever reasons that you can get there, okay? And of course, because this is my very, very first entry in here, therefore my first account balance is going to be for the 168.75, okay? So that was your regular coffee. Okay? Now we're going to do the same thing down here because now we have to also include our Supreme coffee. So it is 612, right? Same thing here. I purchased 125 pounds. Okay? And you can say at $1.55, whatever it is. Okay? Post reference, it's General Journal 4, and this time, once again, if I wanted to, 155 times 125 should give me a grand total of 193.75, which is my very first account balance.
Hi.
Okay, so once again, you can add that information in there. You can multiply. You could just double confirm. However you get there, as long as you make sure that those numbers match. Okay. Last but not least, we need to update our liabilities because we received a bill. We're not paying it yet, so therefore we're paying them later. And in this case, we didn't use our credit card to pay for it. However, we just placed it on an account with Atlas Coffee. So therefore, this one we are gonna owe, and we're given terms. We only have limited 30 days to pay. So here we are, invoice number 315. Okay, General Journal number 4, and we're increasing our debt by 362.50. Right? So now that brings our account balance to now $14,116.40. So once again, we are definitely not doing too well here. All right.
Can you give me a second to catch up with you?
So here we're creating more and more and more debt.
Where am I at? I think the date. I thought I missed an entry, but I just had the date in wrong.
Oh, okay. Did you get the same account balance though?
Reading it right now.
Okay.
$14,116.40. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and go to our subsidiary ledger because we received a bill from Atlas Coffee. So vendors, once again, at the very top, you have your All Things Ceramics. It's going to be right under there. So as you can see, we're probably going to be making lots of purchases of coffee. So let's go ahead and list them out. So Atlas Coffee, first things first, date is the 12th. What did you purchase? You could say, I bought 125 pounds regular coffee and 125 pounds supreme coffee. Okay, pretty straightforward. You could write their actual quoted amount per unit price if you like. It doesn't matter. Invoice 315. General journal 4. And terms. Were we given terms?
Yes.
Yes. 1%, 15, net 30. So in this case, right, what is my discount due date? When do I need to pay, or what is the last day I need to pay before I can take my discount?
June 27th.
The 27th. Good. And then last but not least, if not, then I have to pay in 30 days, which is July 12th. Okay. We didn't make any prepaid amounts to this, right? This is the first bill that we received. So the invoice amount here was $362.50. And guess what? We didn't make any payments to this vendor at all. So therefore, when we enter in our formula, right, invoice minus prepaid minus returns minus discounts minus payments, we should get that we owe Atlas Coffee $362.50. And once again, down below, I have it set already to sum up my total bills here. So in grand total, I owe this vendor the same amount, $362.50. Okay. So that, right, we have an invoice amount and we had a payment. So therefore, in case we ever get a discount because we have terms, or if any case that we decide to make a payment or anything like that, make sure that you associate which one is which. Okay, but for here, we enter in one bill and one bill only. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, guess what we bought? What did we buy? Guess what we bought? What did we buy?
Coffee.
Which is
Inventory.
inventory. So now we can get to take a look at our inventory worksheet. All right. Here I have a tab for your regular coffee. Right here gives you the perpetual table. Let's take a look at what kind of inventory this is. So here it's perpetual inventory, but what kind of costing method am I going to be using to keep track of this? We're doing moving average. So once again, what's today's date? Or in this scenario, it is the 12th. Okay. How many in quantity did we buy? 125 pounds, costing me $1.35. So therefore, what is actually going to be my purchase expense?
$168.75.
168.75. And I'm going to give you a hint right now. Yes, we will incur freight expense. So let's pause on this worksheet before we continue on because we need that piece of information before we can solve the rest of the table. So just having that piece of information for now is good enough. Okay. And we go move on to our second table here, which is our other perpetual table, right? But this time, what costing method am I going to use when I sell my coffee, Supreme Coffee? We're doing FIFO, okay? So in this case, let's go ahead and enter in the information. My quantity, once again, is 125. The purchase price or the unit cost is $1.55 per pound. So therefore, what is my total purchase price?
$193.75.
$193.75. And like I've mentioned before, stop here, hold on, because we will encounter freight expense. Okay. So that's it for now. We'll complete the rest after we look at the next transaction. Okay. So then let's see what happened next. Okay. So what happened here?
The invoice for the delivery driver came in.
Yes. So here they also used a separate third-party vendor to ship us the coffee. Now, if you think about it, 125 pounds of coffee, 250 pounds of coffee is a lot. Okay, it's a latte. So, with that being said, they used a third-party vendor to go ahead and ship these coffee items to us. And guess what? This vendor expects us to pay now because they are COD. Therefore, we need to pay this vendor when we receive our items. So let's take a look at this bill carefully. Okay, we have the invoice number. Okay, here it's based on weight once again. So if the coffee is in grand total shipping cost of $62.50 and they both weigh the same, what's your automatic assumption here?
50-50.
You're going to split the cost 50-50. Okay? So, because I have to split the cost of the freight charges 50-50, how am I going to journalize it this time?
Besides just giving us a hint, we wouldn't put this as freight expense. We just straight go regular coffee and Supreme Coffee and split it up that way.
Correct. Because we're working with perpetual inventory. Every cost that's associated with the inventory is going to go straight to inventory. So in this case, we're going to split the cost and place them exactly where they need to go. So 50% to the regular coffee, 50% to Supreme Coffee. So in this case, I am going to be placing them into the inventory item. So regular coffee and then Supreme Coffee. Okay. And let's see, regular coffee was $12.020, $12.040. So in this case, how much is this cost split into two?
$31.25 each.
$31.25 each. $31.25. Which then should give us a grand total of $62.50, which, how did we pay?
Checking.
Yes, we wrote them a check because they wanted cash on delivery, right? So in this case, I don't have cash on hand, so therefore, I'm going to use a check. Okay. So checking. So therefore, we wrote a check. So where should we go
Check register.
to the check register? Okay, because now we wrote a check on the 12th of June for the amount of $62.50. And this is to Freight Line. Because that's where the billing information's from. The company that shipped us the coffee is called Freight Line. Okay. Okay. So next is going to be finishing up your journal entry here with your description. So we have Freight Line is the vendor that we dealt with. This was invoice number 482. And of course, we wrote a check number 1513, I believe. I'm going to double check. 1512. 1512, excuse me. 1512. And then, of course, I'm also going to say this was COD. Okay. Okay. So we have now our journal is done, is complete. Well, actually, I didn't finish my last entry here, so account number 10100. Okay. My debits and credits match, my description match is done, it's complete. So now I need to go and update my subsidiary ledger. Okay. So here's my general ledger. So again, I'm going to go into my coffee accounts. All right. So here, that's exactly where I left off. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter in the value here and make sure I indicate that this was freight cost. Okay. General journal number 4. And this time I'm adding $31.25. So therefore, my total balance, okay, in my coffee account should reflect at $200. Okay, so once again, I'm going to go take the previous balance. I'm going to add any debits because it's an asset. It increases on the debit side. And I'm going to subtract any credits, which in this case decreases my assets. So here I am increasing because I'm placing the freight in here, that which is increasing. It's included in the price of the inventory item. Therefore, my total inventory balance here is now $200 for my regular coffee. I'm going to quickly format this real quick. Okay, so there we have it. Okay, so now we also have to do the same thing to my Supreme coffee. So here, the 12th, right? And where this is freight cost. Okay, general journal number 4. And once again, we split the cost 50-50. So $62.50 divided by 2 gave you an additional is $31.25. So once again, the same formula is going to apply, right? You're going to up 1, which is your previous balance, add any debits, subtract any credits, and now this account here for my Supreme coffee should give me a grand total of $225. So once again, I'm gonna format this.
So now that we got the freight from there, we go back to the inventory worksheet.
Yes. But I'm gonna do everything in order, so we're gonna leave the inventory worksheet last.
I was just gonna say, because we have to go up to checking.
Yeah, we still have to do the checking part too, yes. So there you go. So there we have it. Okay. And I'm gonna scroll all the way up because I wrote a check. I need to update that I took money out from my checking account. So make sure I put the date here. Okay. This is check number 1512, right? This time we're on general journal number 4. And I continue to take money away from my company, right? I wrote a check for $62.50 to now bring my account balance or my bank account balance to be $5,689.92. All right. Okay, so once again, I will update the inventory worksheet last because I still want to keep the flow of how you enter in your worksheets in order. So right now, I did my journal, I did my ledger. So the next thing I'm going to do is my subsidiary ledger. Okay, and we're going to find freight line. Okay. Freight line, oops, it should be this one, freight line, right? We receive the inventory items on the 12th, and once again, you're going to indicate that you received, or you can say delivered 250 pounds of coffee, right? They don't really care about what coffee you bought, just as long as you know that they carried 250 pounds of coffee. Okay. And how did I pay? Again, I paid with, oops. I paid with, oops, check number 1512. Okay. Invoice. What was my invoice
482.
number? 482. Okay. Post reference, general journal number 4. Terms is COD. Okay, I had to pay cash on delivery at time of delivery. So in their case, there you go. Due date, obviously, because it's they wanted the cash now. They don't give us any discounts or a due date. We didn't make any prepaid accounts with them because they are simply a third-party vendor that's just doing their job, which is delivering the coffee. So in this case, my invoice amount was the $62.50. And once again, because I had to pay with my check, right, cash on delivery, therefore, if I apply that formula once again, invoice amount, I'm in the wrong box. Okay, so place that back here. Get rid of this one for $62.50. So once again, my formula is going to be my invoice amount minus prepaid, minus returns, minus discounts, minus payments. Okay? And now I owe them nothing. So important thing about this is that way you can keep track of the coffee to make sure that they did bring it to you. And if for any reason that you want to ship back the coffee for any reason, you would probably most likely use them. Or the Atlas coffee is most likely going to use them to pick up the coffee for you to return. Okay. And gonna format it using comma style. Okay. So that's using the subsidiary ledger. Excuse me for 1 second. Okay.
My computer froze. Where are we at right now?
We
Like,
are
where is
we
page
just
9 on the sub ledger?
we just finished the subledger.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Last thing that we're going to be doing is entering it into the inventory worksheet. So we're going to start with regular coffee once again. Okay. Here, we're going to enter in that the freight cost was the $21.50. Or $21, $31.25. And once again, your total cost here is going to be $200. Now, because this is the very first item that we purchased, right? Our assumption is that if this was the only batch that we had available to sell, what's my average cost per item going to be?
$160.
160. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and just format these so they look a little nicer. Okay. And once again, because we're dealing with perpetual inventory, I want you to carry it directly over into the inventory on hand. So once again, we are looking at pasting over the quantity, and we're going to paste over the cost. Okay, or I'm sorry, not the cost, the total cost. Because we are dealing with moving average. In this one, which calculation are we constantly recalculating?
The cost per item.
The cost per item. We're constantly, no matter when we make a purchase of inventory or make a sale of an item, you're constantly recalculating the average cost per item. Okay, so in this case, your formula will be your total cost divided by your quantity. And there we have it, and you can use this. I would extend it to maybe all the way down to the page so you always have the formula there. And one thing too is I also would like for you to extend it out so that you can view as many decimal places so you know for sure whether it's a rounded number or not, okay? For this class, we will be taking a look at equal round, okay? Because I'm just gonna lay out the rules here instead of having you guys choose. Since we haven't practiced rounding our numbers first and then computing the cost per item, I'm just going to do it exactly how I taught you in class, which is we're going to keep this number the way it is. We're going to only equal round when we sell our items. Okay, so but here I want you to make sure that you know that this number could be extensive, okay, that it's not just an equal number all the time. So in this case, that was my first entry here and here and yes, my first entry here to tell me that I have a whole total of 125 items, which cost me in grand total $200, which it is $1.60 per item. So here we originally bought them for $1.35, but because of the freight, it has now increased my cost per item to be 30 cents more expensive. Okay. So that's the very first one we have there. Second one that we're going to do, we're going to do the same thing here for Supreme Coffee. We're going to enter in that we received it and the shipping freight cost was $31.25. So therefore, what is my total cost going to be here?
$225.
Oh, oops, wrong. I did a typo. I fat figured that. I multiplied it instead. So there we go, $225.
Cost
Okay.
per item will be $180.
Yes, so in this case, my cost per item, right? In this case, we are dealing with FIFO. We are obligated to calculate the cost per item because we need to make sure that my cost per item, because we're dealing with FIFO, we're dealing with batches. Therefore, every batch that we sell, we need to make sure which one they associate with. So again, here we're going to carry it over into my worksheet or my inventory on hand. All right, so I have 125 at $1.80, which now the formula is going to be on your total side because this is where we can make changes to the quantity and it will readjust accordingly. So if I sold 25 pounds, I have 100 left, it's going to automatically calculate my total account balance there. So in this case, I still have 125 at $1.80, which should give me a grand total of $225 worth of inventory. And guess what? And this is where I'm going to show you every time we make a purchase, every time we make a sale, this here must match your general ledger. That is your reference point to ensure you did your accounting correctly. Right here says that you have $225 in Supreme and $200 in regular. That should reflect your same balances in your ledger, right? My ledger, assets, I was already there. Should tell me here for Supreme. Oh no, my checking account. Oh, I missed it again. That my Supreme, my regular coffee holds right now $200, and my Supreme holds $225. So every time we make a sale, right, and we take it away from inventory, right, your numbers should match your ledger because this one is where you're using, like, you're typing in all your numbers, so it's automatically rounded to the nearest penny, where your inventory worksheet is slightly a little off because you have those unrounded numbers. So your best rule of thumb is to make sure that you double check your ledger and your inventory worksheet because that will be your reference point to show your account balances are truly reflecting. Okay? Any questions now that we finally have inventory?
On the perpetual FIFO for Supreme Coffee, did you just times the quantity by the cost? To get the
Correct.
total?
Correct.
That's what I thought.
Yep, correct. That's all it is. It's your, oh, wrong one. Your Supreme Coffee, you said? Yes, your total is just going to be your quantity times your cost. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions in regards to entering or using the inventory worksheet? Okay. Once again, when we open our store, which if you took a look in the calendar, we're going to start on Monday the 17th of June. So week 3, right? You guys are responsible. We took a look at many times on how to journalize sales. And because we're dealing with both perpetual and periodic inventory, you guys have to remember which coffees, or sorry, which accounts will be using the, or which inventories would be using the cost of goods sold. Okay, so again, I will gear you to the right answer, but I will not, I will have you guys figure it out on your own. Okay, so that's coming up forth on week 3. But any questions, so we'll be jumping back and forth from the inventory worksheet, and how you enter in the information is going to be up to you. If you want to jump from this to this to this to this, you could do it. It's your own accounting. But just know that I will try really hard to keep track of your accounting. But again, it's how you want to do it. Okay, because you guys are going to be, I'm passing the torch to you, and you're going to show me how much you've learned from this accounting course. Show me what you know. by showing me how you're going to keep track of the records. Okay. All right. So now we finally have inventory. We journalize all this information. So now you know the next time we make a purchase of coffee, we will have to incur the separate freight charges. So that means our journal's going to enter in twice for the coffee, right? One for the actual product itself, the purchase price, and the other one is for the shipping cost. So, yes, right? And that can happen. All right? Okay. All right. So no questions now? Okay, so let's go ahead and see right now. Let me see what we can do. I want you. Let's just do the next two scenarios, and then we'll come back and continue the rest. Okay. So here for the next transaction it's the next day now. It is now the 13th, which is Thursday. And now we decided to hire Silver State Electrical to upgrade the electrical work the electrical wiring for my coffee grinder. So,
We just keep that in mind for now because we only hired them. There's not even any paperwork.
correct. No, there's no, that we just hired them. We don't know what the job costs. We don't know what they billed us. We don't know if they completed the job. We just hired them. Okay. All right. So last transaction for the day. What did we receive?
A bill.
We received a bill. Yes. From who? Oops, sorry. Where did we see?
Remodeling,
Okay. For what job?
reinforcing the foundation.
Reinforcing the foundation. So, what job is this 100% geared towards? What did we hire LV Remodeling for?
Our grinder.
Our grinder. And where is our grinder right now?
Miscellaneous suspense.
It is in miscellaneous suspense. So, therefore, you're going to dump this cost into miscellaneous suspense because it is going to be part of the cost of the grinder. Okay? Because right now, it's sitting on the table. There's no electrical work. There's no foundation for it to stand on. So, therefore, it's not ready to be placed into service yet. So, it's going to be considered part of the cost to get it ready and placed into service. So in this case, this bill right here, right, I contracted LV Remodeling to build the foundation for the grinder. So in this case, I want you to tack it wherever the grinder is, which we already know is in miscellaneous suspense. Okay? And because we've received a bill, are we paying it now or are we going to pay it later?
Accounts payable.
We're going to pay in 4 days. It says they're going to bill us in 4 days. We didn't say anything about making the payment now. We're paying them later. So let's go ahead and enter it in. So we know that the coffee grinder right now is sitting in miscellaneous suspense. So therefore, I'm going to dump any costs that are associated with my grinder into miscellaneous suspense. And we just recognize that we're going to owe LV Remodeling on an account. Okay. So miscellaneous suspense account, what number is that again? 19,900, I think so, like that. Okay. And accounts payable is 20,000. That was easy to remember. Okay. How much is the bill for? $1,560. Okay, both sides. And once again, because we're gonna pay them later, we have all the information that we need. So, okay, we have the bill, who billed us, LV Remodeling. Okay, we have an invoice number. 1760. Okay. We have a bill due date. That 4. And if you want to enter in here that this is the foundation, you can also enter that in there too. Foundation for grinder. Okay. So here, our debits and credits match. We journalize the accounts and we have our description. So we got to go to now our general ledger. Okay? Because this time, instead of doing a subcontractor expense, because this wasn't for the business, this was for the coffee grinder. So once again, we're going to locate our miscellaneous suspense account. And here it is, last account on this page. Right. The date is the 13th now. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and write here, foundation for coffee grinder. Okay. Right. General journal number 4. And we are increasing the coffee grinder by 1560. So now my coffee grinder is right now outstanding at $3,088.07. Okay. So then now that we updated this, right, it's now worth $3,088. Now we need to go ahead and update our accounts payable because we didn't pay them yet. We decided to owe them and owe more money. So let's go ahead and update our accounts payable account. Okay, so once again, this is our 20th bill that we received. Okay, so 613, invoice number 1760. Okay, general journal number 4. And this time we're increasing it by 1560, which now brings our account way up into the balance of $15,676.40. So once again, not looking too good here. Okay. How are we going to pay back all this amount?
Sell coffee.
Sell coffee, right?
Yep.
Yes, yes. Okay. So there it is. All right. There's my account balances. Okay. And last but not least, right, that we didn't obviously deal with inventory, so we don't need to worry about the inventory worksheet. However, we do need to update our subsidiary ledger because we received a bill from LV Remodeling. Okay, so once again, I'm going to locate LV Remodeling. So that should be...
Line 1.
There you go. Got it. LV Remodeling. There's not that many accounts, so, I mean, you could just take your time and glide through them. Okay. Once again, what kind of information or notes would you like to indicate here? I'm going to go ahead and say foundation for grinder job. Okay. That's the easiest description I can figure out here. And it was invoice number 1760. Once again, still on general journal number 4. And what was our terms?
Net
4
4.
days.
It was due in 4 days. So therefore, when is my total bill due? What date is my total bill due?
17.
17th of June. Okay, once again, no prepaid accounts there. It was for 1560. And here, I'm not going to do any returns, discounts, or payments. So in this case, because I pulled my formula all the way down, here it shows me that I owe an additional $15.60 for this bill here. And at the gray bottom gives me a total amount that I owe LV Remodeling. I owe them in grand total $3,450. Okay? And that's a lot. Okay? So let's go ahead and take a brief scroll down our subsidiary ledger just to see what other bills that we have up that is, going to be due soon. So here we have the 20th and the 30th. So that's week 3. The 27th in July. So that we don't have to worry about that one. Okay. We have another bill due on the 22nd, and the 23rd. So that's all week 4. Okay. Let's see what else. We have this one that's due on the 25th, week 4, and one in July. So this one we can hold off to. Okay. And that's pretty much it so far. I don't see any other ones due soon. Okay. And there we have it. Okay.
Now, do we go back and put the grinder plus the freight delivery and what we just got billed for and put the total cost for the grinder?
There's one more thing that we're missing. One more cost.
Oh,
The electrical. We didn't get billed for that one yet.
okay.
So we still are going to keep the coffee grinder in miscellaneous expense because we still got one more cost. Okay. Right. Good observation, but we're not there yet. We still got one more thing. Okay.
I just have a question.
Go
When we
for
received-
it.
When we received our coffee, were we supposed to go to our purchase order and write the invoice number in?
I think we did do that, no?
Or did we?
We didn't have a purchase order for that particular.
For the coffee.
They're all together.
Yep. 315.
We didn't split them as supreme or regular.
No.
Oh no, because in this case, there's only one coffee person, so I'm just gonna say, well, I ordered 250 pounds of coffee. Does it matter what is what? It does matter if you are like that kind of person where you need to have a specific amount of coffee. But once again, that could be a discrepancy. Maybe they overshipped you too much of this coffee or that coffee. But in this case, we won't see that kind of scenario.
Right.
Okay. So yes, I did update my purchase order for that.
And I thought we didn't go back and write the 315 in, but I must have missed it.
Okay. No worries. You can always go back and go over all of your worksheets. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to highlight this last section here. I mean, we could technically do this one. It's not a big deal just because we're just hiring somebody. So we'll just see, I already highlighted that we'll stop on the 14th. So let's just stop on the 14th. So in this case, what happened here? What did we do here?
You contacted Hired Temps to get you some help, and the payment's due on the 21st of June.
Okay, so hire temps. We wanted somebody to come and work for us temporarily. Okay, so in this case, right, we know what the date's going to be. We're going to hire them to work from the 17th through the 19th. So that's usually during the very first week of when we open our store. And how much are we paying them? $10.50 an hour. And how long are we planning to have them work for?
Just a couple days.
One person for work a full 8-hour shift for 3 days, right? The 17th, the 18th, and the 19th. So where can you place this piece of information when Hire Temps sends us a bill? Vendor. Excellent. So because you can't journalize it, right? You just hired them. You didn't pay them yet. And you already said that you're going to pay them on the 21st of June. So the best place to place it is going to be in your subsidiary ledger under Hire Temps. So it should be right under Haley Bros. Okay. We're not going to write the date yet, but we're going to write a note here that we're going to hire one person for 3 days, 8-hour shifts, and they're going to get pay rate $10.50 per hour. Okay. Hire temps. Okay. That's pretty good, juicy. That's pretty good information to keep in mind. But also, you know what, we have a place to be able to write this in, which is the actual hire temps vendor itself, because this is the criteria. I'm only going to hire one person for 3 days, 8 hours a day, and I'm going to pay them $10.50 an hour. Okay. So once again, a transaction has not happened, so therefore you don't need to journalize it. However, this is good information that you need to keep for your transactions. So with that being said, I highlighted it on the 14th. So when we come back tomorrow, we're going to finish up 14. So we only have a couple transactions here, and we're going to complete our trial balance. And if we do have time, which I'm hoping we have some time tomorrow, we can dive right into week 3, and you guys are going to be in control and telling me what to do, and I'm just going to sit here and just type in whatever you tell me to type in. Okay? All right. Other than that, any extra questions in regards to everything that we've done so far?